Good point, assistance link, well done.
Isn't there an Italian restaurant?
An antique shop. Now the second time around. I don't know if it was still there in 2001.
Okay, so I don't know that, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
Where's your mortuary?
I'm a teacher, I only recognize hands, sorry.
Mr. Cartozian.
Yes! Jennifer and I went to Downey High together, we actually even had, do we have geometry together?
I think so.
Honors geometry?
Probably not honors, but yeah, honors.
Let's just go with it,
Okay, yeah,
Jennifer.
yeah, yeah.
They're not gonna
It's a long
fact
time
check
that
us.
goes by.
Where's your mortuary?
The mortuary was there, which later became, well, it was Risher until.
And then there was the other one.
Two different places.
Miller Mize was on
Miller
the other
Meese,
side.
sorry, Miller
Miller Meese
Meese,
is the
Miller
corner.
Mize, and Risher, right. So they were both on that same block and actually almost at that same corner, and my offices were next door later.
So business was kind of dead?
Someone said, yeah,
But-
so the point being, yeah, Granada's came in 1999, I think the year before, and the city gave them some economic support, and I think they had a pretty good run until new things came, but there was,
There's a Mexican restaurant on the corner of 4th and Downey.
I think that came on 4th?
Or 2nd.
Yeah, Pinatas.
Yes.
But they came a couple of years later.
Okay.
They came, so anyway, point being,
CTE is Impact Valley.
but the Avenue Theater was actually still open at that time, is my point. So the Avenue Theater with its sticky floors and all, we all, or many of us went there for, you know, a $1 show. And you get to see a film. I think I saw Solar Babies there. I don't think it had much longer than 1 week in circulation. But the point being is, it was a sleepy downtown. You could pretty much stand in the middle of the street. If you guys remember Meredith Perkins, Meredith was one of my mentors. He was on the city council, as was Keith McCarthy, Bob Whittingham, and Rick Trejo. So we were all on the council together, and Meredith said, this downtown has got no shot. It's a sleeper, no offense, but we got too many mortuaries in the downtown. It's a boring place, right? Point being, there wasn't a lot of excitement, there wasn't a lot of energy, and so this was kind of the beginning of what I thought was gonna be my role on the council, was to help to bring some energy to the downtown, to bring some excitement. And, but in 2004, or 2003, the theater closed. Basically, it stopped operating. It was sold to a group that was trying to envision something new for it. So I'm gonna kind of just go through, and again, like I said, feel free to interject. So what, you did see some things happening, and, you know, Downey Do Delicious, if you guys know Don Lampkin, he wanted to kind of profile what was cool and about Downey. What do we remember? So I always like to point to Downey Do Delicious in the downtown, even though it came in 2014 and they just had their 10-year. It was kind of a look back at Downey, right? Let's talk about the Downey Theater and its history. So it opened in 1925. So it's been, we just had our 100-year anniversary. It was, you know, had a nice, and still does, has a nice brick facade. Later you had a number of layers that covered up this beautiful masonry, this beautiful brick. They started off doing live stage shows. I don't think anyone here was alive for that. Then it moved into to screen, and but yeah, you had dressing rooms. It was renamed Victory, and then it was renamed again to Avenue, and that's kind of the timeline there. And then it became a 505-seat single-screen theater until 2003. And when I was on the council, we put it up for an RFP. If you guys know what an RFP is, it's a request for proposals. And the idea was, let's see what the development community can do with an old building. Well, we presented that along with the old Verizon building, which had no historical significance. And all the developers, they they really only cared about the Verizon building because it was a lot bigger and, they could develop on it. The Downey Avenue Theater, the pad is only 9,200 square feet and it sits in the middle and it's rear loaded. You really just have a skinny little neck, which is where the box office was. So you're not getting a lot of real good retail, your visibility. You're really just getting, you know, a lot of, you know, kind of alley adjacent, cavernous, dark, windowless space. So it wasn't very attractive for that, but if you know now the View project on Second, that's what all the developers wanted, and they basically cast aside and said, we're not even gonna touch this theater project. It might not have historical covenant on it, but it has historical kind of integrity, and the community's not gonna be happy with developers looking to like tear it down, right? So they were smart and they just kind of left that alone. I'll kind of just go through this, if this, some of you may have seen over the years, some of these cool visuals of the theater. This is during the Victory Theater era. My dad grew up in Huntington Park. He said he remembers it. He was born in '39, so he would have been 8 years old at this time. Here's some movies that played, and you could see the different, the evolution or the de-evolution of the theater. This tower was on the roof, and that's kind of what I think we remember it most, kind of being most prominent about the theater on top. And then this is what it looked like in 1961 when West Side Story debuted at the theater. So I love this picture. I think it's my favorite. We have it at the Avenue Theater, Avenue Pizzeria today. We have a picture like this in the back if you're ever in there. But yeah, this is what the single screen theater looked like. I remember the sticky floors. I don't think they cleaned it but once. Yeah. Cabaret. This is 1972. There's pictures of. Well, this is the Carpenters. That's Richard and Karen in this top open car in one of their. I don't know if it was an actual. What do they call them? What do they call on MTV? Music videos. But they were this was a music video that they created, the Carpenters did. You can find it online. I just took a snapshot of the image. So it basically became a rundown, second-rate movie theater in the 70s. This is kind of my family's background. My first movie that I saw, I should say, with my mom was Pete's Dragon. Solar Babies was with my friends in the 1980s. Oski is my middle name. A lot of people at Gallatin knew me as Oski, so I put that in. But does anyone remember Pete's Dragon? Yep. I feel like I remember being there with my mom like right now, and it was years.
Elliot, with the dragon.
So yeah, it closed in 2003, 4, right around there. It just so happens that that same year, I was the mayor of Downey. So the council elects a new mayor every year, and so I was serving and kind of we try to give each mayor that year to a little extra support if he or she has any projects they want to promote. I wanted to see the theater, and I was just happy and willing to put money into the project and maybe bring our downtown to life, because here we are now 3-4 years in to me being on the council, and it's still kind of a sleepy downtown. Meredith, my point about Meredith earlier was you could stand in the middle of Downey Avenue and you won't get hurt. So you could at that time. But there was a little challenge, and my family, we had been members of the First Baptist Church, which is now the Legacy. Is anyone here a member or was a member at First Baptist? Was or were?
I was. I got married there at that church.
You got married there. Okay, so we were at First Baptist too, and now it's called Legacy, and I have a great relationship with them today. That was not the case in 2004, because the church, and I shouldn't say the church, as a whole, not like all parishioners, but the board and the governing body that was looking out for its business interests said, absolutely not, we're not gonna allow this project to go forward. It's gonna bring too many cars, too much traffic, too many people, so traffic and parking issues and activity, it's gonna be an issue for us next door. And I made the conscious effort to challenge the church, and I said, well, aren't you guys also a downtown user with a lot of cars and a lot of traffic? And then it was, if you think you're coming after the church for its operations, then you've got another thing coming, Mayor Cartozian. I said, no, that wasn't my point. My point was, can we all, coexist? This is a downtown. Successful downtowns have parking problems. They have traffic problems. And what ends up happening is the community ends up coming and supporting them and wanting to be in their downtown. Well, that became a big fight. And